Hello everyone, this is Darkbblue. Let's continue the story of my learning to play Remnant from the ashes like a master player. The story in the last video was about trying different builds in endgame, and now I think it's time to give a try to higher difficulty and survival mode, so this shall be today's story. So I decided to have a try on higher difficulty first. There are 4 difficulty options in Remnant: Normal, Hard, Nightmare, and Apocalypse. And as far as I know, the main difference is just the attack and health values of enemies. No major changes to the mechanics of how this world works. And additionally, the extra reward I can get from a higher difficulty is just more treat experience, nothing more. There won't be more powerful gears that are only accessible in higher difficulty, so perhaps a more skilled player can go for, let's say, Apocalypse directly, where you don't have to progress step by step. But I don't think myself that skilled, so I began with hard swamp. Actually, I didn't feel obvious rise of difficulty. Devastator seemed to be less likely to one-shot an enemy if the bullets did not all hit. But I could just aim with more patience and make sure they all hit. Anyway, there wasn't much to say about hard. So let's move to my experience in Nightmare Forest Adventure. This time, I did feel the combat was much tougher. My first impression was I became so vulnerable. According to my past experience, enemies' projectiles are not dangerous at all. The damage can be mostly ignored until they stack up to a point where I will finally remember to use the Dragon Heart. But in Nightmare, 4 hits were enough to kill me, so I had to look for cover and try to avoid any damage. And so far I'm just talking about mobbing. When I was faced with elites, sometimes they could just one hit kill me. However, my damage seemed still enough. I guess the potential of my builds wasn't fully discovered in lower difficulty, and now I had to test their limits, but they could still make it. All in all, I died a few times before finally made it to the boss fight. And in the boss fight, I had experienced another kind of challenge. I felt really hard to kill that boss within short time, which used to be easy in normal difficulty. And therefore I had to fight against the mobs and the boss in the meantime. Since the combat became even fiercer, my damage seemed to be not enough to clear the mobs. Well, I died a few more times to defeat the boss, and I finished the world boss as well, with much effort and endurance. So I started to wonder how tougher Apocalypse would be. No matter what it would be too much for me, for now. But I watched videos about Apocalypse and they didn't seem that hard. Why? Maybe the answer lies in traits. I realized the bonus of a trait is of roughly the same skill of a ring or amulet. So leveling up more traits can empower the character significantly. For example, I haven't leveled up the traits that give me damage reduction yet, otherwise maybe the damage under Nightmare difficulty wouldn't be that hard to take. Maybe still advised to farm experience and level up traits under a lower difficulty in order to get fully prepared for the final challenge. I've decided to stop at Nightmare difficulty, but if you want to give it a try as well, I suggest you do it step by step. And next, let's try survival mode. I lost all my gears once I entered this mode, and I noticed the decrease of my max health, which meant I lost my traits as well. Though there wasn't any hints or guides of this mode, I just knew my character status in this mode is independent of my main character. So, I was in a safe zone. These strange pillars were actually merchants, and the things they sold were random. I bought some initial weapons and armors and headed for the first level. It was desert, looked like main realm but much smaller than the real one. I could discover abundant treat books and other loots scattered around, and when I picked up a treat book, it didn't give me a skill point to be spent freely, but gave me a random treat. and afterwards I entered a dungeon-looking area. This battle was rather easy, even under the standard of normal difficulty. After the dungeon was a boss fight, and eventually I went back to the safe zone. So it's clear that this is a roguelike mode. Everything I can get is random. I can pick up gears in the level or purchase them in the safe zone. It's turn-based, and my target should be survive for as long time as possible to earn more glowing fragments. I also noticed the clock in the top left corner. When the time is up, enemies will become stronger. This reminds me of a similar design in Risk of Rain. Well, roguelike. I'm familiar with roguelike. I purchased more gears and entered the next level. It was forest, and the third level turned out to be Earth. I fought a world boss there, not too difficult, but a bit boring. So I just exited survival mode. Then this is my story of exploring higher difficulty and survival mode. There is more to find and experience in Remnant from the Ashes, I can sense it. But I'm tired of the thought that I shall farm trees and get prepared all alone. Maybe I'm not a master player of this game yet, but indeed I have had different kinds of fun here. So I want to end this journey now, and hope my story can aid you in your own journey. Let's meet again in my next story. If you like my video and want to join me to enjoy the fun of playing games like a master player, remember to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, see you around.